And okay, there we go. Prometheus Susan, hello.
Got it. Hello.
It is so good to see you. I was really excited to get to see all your answers for the written questions for the Spicy PNR Books blog.
Now
What
I
did
gotta remember what I answered because
That's okay. That's totally fine. So what have you been working on lately?
I just finished for Flirty in Kansas, their anthology. I did Finger Licking Love, and I
Yeah.
left it on a cliffhanger.
Okay.
And I have since finished it and changed the name to A Coyote's Heart because
Aw.
it's like where it was going when I wrote it for the anthology was more barbecue sauce and bodies and fingers and licking. And somehow
I'm liking.
it kind of changed. I mean, she ended up like getting kidnapped and yeah, it just took quite a few different
Yeah.
twists and turns and so it's A Coyote's Heart and actually I just finished it last week and I came in at like 44,000 words. I was like,
Hey, that's pretty cool.
mm-hmm.
That's
And
awesome.
then
So is it Coyote Shifters?
yes, but it's
Okay.
going to tie into like the one vampire series because it's like with Ink, he's a tattoo artist. His brother's coming in. It's going to be, I think, Spark, but Brewer is a motorcycle. Well, he
Oh,
has a gang, but he's also known as the Grim Reaper, and they're known as the Shadows because he kind of rescues kidnapped women or women who are being held. So he
cool.
takes like no prisoners. So he kind of comes in to help the Coyote Bash, I think that was his name, um, to save her because she was kidnapped by a motorcycle leader because he had killed his son. So it's kind of it took quite a few little twists and turns and so it's going to tie into that vampire series but still be a standalone.
Okay. That's cool though. I like that. So what was your favorite part about writing the story? Like, do you like naming the characters or coming up with the plot or
The plot changes because I did not see
okay.
that. I mean, there's parts of it like her dad all of a sudden like her dad ends up finding or her dad is actually the mate to his aunt and it like comes in like somewhere in the end there and it's like well I didn't see that happening okay well it's I think maybe it's the twists and turns
Okay, cool.
that I seem to throw in there that I'm not even sure I'm going to do at the beginning
Yeah.
and it just kind of takes you there.
That's awesome though. So do you ever like surprise yourself while you're writing?
Yeah,
In a good way?
I do. Yeah, it is because it's like oh I didn't think of that and it's
Yeah.
like oh that's a good little twist kind
Yeah.
of like the my which one is it her ghostly savior
Mm.
which its sequel they're standalones but they're in a series they're
Okay, cool.
completely separate but they have the same basics as far as their ghosts who become angels who become fallen angels who become vampires who are demon hunters.
Okay.
Yeah I
Wow.
know it's
Oh,
got a lot.
I love that though. I mean, you can never get enough like paranormal creatures. So,
I know and I kind of threw all in at once.
you know what? That's cool though. That way you never get bored. There's always
No
something.
I don't and yeah no I but now I'm writing a raccoon shifter.
Really?
Yeah, and it actually the how I got the idea was we had a raccoon on our deck one night,
Okay.
and it was spring, and it acted like it was drunk. It would stand up, fall over. It'd take a
Oh,
step, fall over, and I did some research, and it was like fermented fruit that's been on the ground all winter. It's like fermented. They eat it, and it makes them drunk.
oh my goodness. Okay.
So I'm like, what if we do this with a shifter who's a raccoon?
Yeah.
And then as she hiccups, she's shifting, and someone sees her, but it happens to be a scientist who then cages her to find out the secrets to her DNA.
Oh, okay, okay. So I don't want you to give away all of the story, but does it have a happy ending?
Of course,
Okay.
because she's orphaned, so a bear family takes her in, a bear
Oh,
fam shifters, and it happens to be their son is her mate. But he leaves because he knows she's too young. So he does come back in time
okay, okay.
to get that
I'm I'm glad.
happily ever
Happily
after.
ever after. That's so cool. So you've done like a ton of different paranormal creatures in your stories. Do you have like a
Yes.
favorite?
I don't think so because I love well, I collect wolves, dolphins, and dragons.
Okay.
So those are my three favorite, and I've got tattoos of dolphins, dragons, and wolves. So
Oh,
those I think are my three favorites. But then you can't not love a vampire. And now it's like since I've done so many of those haunted tours, I'm getting
yeah.
into the ghost and
Oh,
what you can do with ghost and poltergeist and all that,
okay,
which
cool.
that can take a lot of twists and turns and
Yeah. That's cool. So when you're writing like a poltergeist or a ghost, is it a little darker of a story or is it still kind of lighthearted?
well, the ghost is not as dark as well the poltergeist because the poltergeists are more evil and dark than a regular spirit or ghost.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I researched that too. Oh my gosh, my research history. But in fact, my poltergeist one just released yesterday.
Oh my goodness. Hey, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, not a ghost of a chance. And
Love
he's a
that.
circus clown. He grew up in the circus,
Okay.
so all he's known is lying, stealing, and then he kind of takes that on to kind of raping and killing.
Okay.
And his parents end up killing him. So he comes back to haunt them.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But then he somehow changes into the poltergeist.
Hmm.
And then he terrorizes the neighborhood. But yeah, he's just horrible. He'll figure out how
I love that
he's
you're like, I'm so disappointed in his behavior. It's
he's
always
so
the worst.
horrible, but yet you feel so sorry for him because it's like if he didn't have the upbringing he did, he may have
Yeah.
been different. And
Yeah.
then she buys the house he's haunting, living it, whatever. Um, and then he kind of falls in love with her.
Aw.
So then, to show his love, he kills people that annoy her. Which how can you not like that? I mean,
I mean, that truly is an act of love right there.
it is, isn't it? But then it's like he wants to keep her forever. Well, to keep
Okay.
her forever, he has to kill her.
Okay.
And she realizes that and does escape. And the only thing that can kill him is dragon fire. And
Interesting.
he thinks he's invincible because dragons don't exist.
Okay.
But they do.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
so what was it like doing research for that? Like, I know that you researched a lot about like the supernatural. Did you also research like haunted houses and like figure out like what you wanted her house to look like?
Well, I kind of went with just a regular house so that it
Oh,
doesn't
cool.
look like it's haunted. And it was
Interesting.
actually, I think I did it as a new construction because um, the local church kind of burned his house down to try
Oh,
and get rid of him.
hmm.
Our kids set the house on fire, so, figuring fire will rid him. So it was new
Yeah.
construction. And no one really thinks to, look like the back records of the house
Yeah.
because that's what my son and daughter-in-law bought a house and the previous owners had died in it. And
Whoa.
so just natural causes. They were old.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
kids. So I used, the ghost apps you got in the spirit
Yeah.
box. And of course, when they're painting and everything, I'm in the one room where the one died with my ghost app and my spirit box and all this. And I'm getting, who are you? Why are you here?
Oh,
Help me.
interesting.
And my son is like, Mom, you can go home now.
He's like, look, mom, we are actually really invested in this house. It's gonna
And then
happen.
it was like the office bedroom or the bedroom they're using as their office, the light would kept going off. It would just shut
Oh
off. It would
wow,
shut
okay.
off like, he's like, Mom, you're not allowed back until you come back with sage or something,
Oh.
whatever. So they haven't had any problems lately, but I did sage the house for them,
Okay, cool.
and then I'm not allowed to use my spirit box in there anymore.
Well, that's totally fair. So, kind of
I
along those lines, along those lines, did you always know that you were going to write paranormal stories?
yes,
Oh, cool. So, what kind
I've
of made you want to do that?
I've always felt that there has to be more than just us. That I mean, maybe not. Maybe I don't know. My dog could shift. I don't know. I don't think so. He's not as bright. But that I don't know. Contemporary. I like reading contemporary, but
Yeah.
as far as writing it, to me, it's like you're writing every day. It just didn't have that interest for me. I
Okay.
can read it. I like. I do read more contemporary than I read paranormal.
Okay.
But as far as writing it,
Yeah.
paranormal just drew me with the wolves and the. I've got dolphins. I've got mermaids, mermen, you know, vampires and dragons, especially the dragons and the
Yeah.
power they have.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I couldn't do anything else but paranormal.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's really fun writing paranormal romance just because, like you said, like I like to write contemporary too, and I like to read it, but it does tend to be a little more like, well, this could really happen in real life. Like I could really do these things, unless it's, falling in love with a billionaire. But
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
yeah, make the billionaire a shapeshifter, and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. So do you have like favorite tropes that you like to use in your stories? Like there's only one bed or the fact that they're a shifter is a secret.
Usually, it is the shifter part is a secret,
Okay.
and it's how they're going to explain it, how they're going to make sure that the other one, the human,
Yeah.
doesn't like freak out and go, "Oh my god, I'm running by," you know. So there's that, and just I think it is the secret because it is such
Yeah.
a big secret. I would
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I feel like if I was a shifter, I probably wouldn't like really want a lot of people to know. Like you were talking about like the scientist, like finding
Hmm.
your raccoon character. That would be me. Like I would get caught so fast.
Oh yeah, and I'm horrible with secrets too. It'd be like, "Oh look, I'll turn that light on for you. You don't have to get up. I got." It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I would so give myself away.
Yeah. So I'm the same way. Now, one thing that's really cool, you and I met at a book convention. I know we've done a couple of conventions together.
Mhm.
What's your favorite thing about going to romance conventions? Like, do you love meeting the readers, hanging out with the other authors? What gets you excited?
All the above.
Okay.
It's like there is such an energy with the sighting
Yeah.
that I could not sleep for 2 days, and I'm great. It's like endless energy, and it's like I don't know if you're feeding off of other people or just feeding off the excitement of being there and the readers and being able to talk about something you love.
Yeah.
That my really, people don't really understand around me. My coworkers have no idea. They don't quite grasp it
Yeah, I don't
because most
understand.
of them really, they're not real readers. Plus, I work for a school district, so it's like I
Okay.
have to kind of keep it on a little down low as far
Yeah.
as the spice of my books.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like, yeah, they're not appropriate for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
And even my husband's very supportive, and so are my kids. But like my, it goes beyond. It's like, oh yeah, I want to read it, I want to read it, and then they never do.
Yeah,
So it's
well,
like, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the sightings is because you got the readers who are there and they want the books, they want to read. That is a passion for them as much as writing is a passion for us.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's just the whole thing, and getting to go out of town is always nice too. And
Yeah. I
So,
totally agree with you. It's like the traveling is fun. And like you said, like connecting with people who really have a passion, like, and being able to use, for me, I love being able to use like writer terms and like slang and terminology and like
yeah.
getting like people who like know what you mean. If you're like, oh, do you write spicy or do you write sweet? Like when you say that to people in real life, I feel like they kind of look at you like you're a little crazy, but that's okay.
Mhm. Or if you're writing about, you're right, or even like killing somebody, it's like when you're at a book signing, it's like, oh, I would do it this or this or that. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that. It's like you can bounce ideas off of other authors that you really can't do with other people
Yeah.
because authors understand, and even readers are like, I'd like to read that.
Yeah, I would agree. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of times I'll have readers who will come up to me and they'll be very specific with what they want.
Hmm.
Like I only read this one type of book. Like I met someone who was like, I only read elephant shifters. That was all that she read. And she was like on the hunt. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I still feel bad. I don't have any of those. But have you ever been like inspired by either a reader or an author at a book event who was like, I'm really looking for this type of book? Have you ever thought, oh, I should incorporate some of that into my writing?
A lot of it is with MC motorcycle clubs,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
and that is kind of why I think I went bash with the motorcycle. He's not really in a club, but yeah. But then Brewer's going to be a motorcycle club.
Okay, cool.
But as far as I don't know if his story is going to include his gangs or not, his gang members or not. I haven't figured that out yet because then he's also got a brother who's a rock star,
Yeah.
and I don't know why, but his mate gets pregnant after he has sex with somebody else on a toilet from a toilet seat.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I know, right?
There's some
I know
twists and
that's powerful, spirit,
turns.
but
Well,
that's how it's gonna work for
you know what?
his story.
You know what? I think it's important that it does work that way for his story. I really do.
Well, yeah, it's like I was thinking, you go into some of these public bathrooms, especially at clubs or concerts, and you're like, what is on this seat? You don't know. Ew. Well, I kind of took that and ran with it.
Okay, okay. You know what? That works though. And it's kind of interesting. One thing I've kind of gathered from talking with you, I feel like you get a lot of ideas from a lot of places. Is that fair to say?
I do, yeah.
That's really cool. I like that about you. That's
I
awesome.
kind of and I twist things.
Yeah.
It's like it's like I don't know where was it, the county fair? I think we went to the county fair and I was at a porta potty and that's where it was like, oh, I've really got to go, but ew, okay,
Not gonna
we're gonna
happen.
do it.
Yeah.
And we've all been there. We've all been in that situation and done that. So it's
Yeah.
not something that's like so out of the realm that it could not happen.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
it could. It's
Yeah.
just kind of I'm gonna make her like kind of drunk and fall and kind of yeah. I'm still working on the logistics.
Okay. You know what? That works though. So when you're writing a story, do you usually start with the idea or do you start with like the characters? Do you like to start with the setting? How do you begin planning for your stories?
Oh, I don't plan. I
Okay.
don't plan at all. I will have the characters' names, who they are, and kind of a basic idea where I'm going with it,
Okay.
and then I just write.
Okay. I
So
like
yeah,
that
I'm not one
though.
of those that like plans out every chapter. No, it just kind of goes with the flow, and I don't write in order either.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I could write the beginning or the end, and then I'll come back and do the middle, or I do this part or this scene or that scene, and then I have to tie them all together.
Yeah. Well,
And then I screw up chapter numbers, and my editor goes, "You have 3 chapter 52s."
actually.
Oops, sorry.
Well, that's why we have editors. They keep us
Yes.
on track. So, what's something that you think new writers should know? What's something that somebody who wants to be an author, what's something they should know about writing?
Hmm.
Or what's something you wish that you had known when you started writing?
Don't go with a publisher.
Okay.
But I would think to someone wanting to write, just write the story that you see in your head or you feel in your heart,
Yeah.
and then write it that way, and then you can go back, you can tweak it. You have editors, just write it
Yeah.
and don't go through a publisher.
Well, I actually really like that advice because I feel like as an author, a lot of times there are a lot of different forces sharing opinions. And people will say, you shouldn't do this, you should do this other thing. But I think it's really important that we write stories we're passionate about and that we care about.
Yeah, because it shows through, and readers can tell.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it doesn't matter if you write on Word or if you write on Google Docs or you write on a piece of notebook paper.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it from your heart and you enjoy it. If you don't love it, don't do it.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. And I think a lot of people who are brand new kind of get caught up in the little details of like doing things perfectly, like having the right writing software or, setting up their social media. And that's totally fine. Like there's value in all of those things. But at the heart of it, just write the story.
Yeah. Or I have to have a dedicated office, or I have to write between the hours of 2 and 5 or 6. It's like my office is my kitchen table or the couch.
Yeah, that works.
Because I tried that whole office, and it was downstairs in the family room, and I'm like, I can't. If I'm writing, I have to stop to make dinner. I have to stop to go get coffee. I'm like, right here in the kitchen, I can still be a part of the family going on because I can block them out, and I'm getting the words in, but yet they're not feeling neglected because that is a part of it too.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah, and writing looks different for everyone. And I think a lot of writers have that same experience of an office doesn't always work for us, especially for really creative people. A lot of times we need to be in spaces that we feel comfortable in.
Yeah, because I'll write at work when I'm sitting, at the school waiting, and I've got 20 minutes. That's good to get a good chapter, depending on how well it's flowing and if nobody bothers me. But
That's
yes,
fair.
but
Yeah,
that's it. Make sure when the moment hits, you're able to do it and write,
you're
and
ready.
it
Yeah.
adds up.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. It totally adds up. And you don't have to have like a set chunk of time, like you were saying. It could be 20 minutes here and 5 minutes there, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I do,
that works. I
and
like
it
that.
works. And it works for me.
Yeah, that's cool. So, another question. I know that you've written a lot of different types of characters, dolphins, raccoons. Is there any type of character you haven't done that you're kind of playing with maybe doing in the future, like a polar bear or
I am doing grizzly bears, but
okay,
they're kind of already in a book, but they're getting their own book.
tell me more.
So what?
Tell me more.
Well, they're part of. They came in on Forbidden Desires,
Okay.
and they're twins, or brothers,
Yeah.
and one's a chef, and they kind of take over the bar because she's mated now to the sheriff and the rancher, and they're going to be getting their own story, which their mate is coming from like a cultish family
Oh,
where the
interesting.
family is kind of like they only entertain, or they only within their own family. They've got cousins that are married, and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
she's breaking free, changing her identity. So she's going to end up coming into town, and she's their mate. And so that's as far as I've gotten with that one, because it's fourth book, and it's actually going to be the end of that series, I think.
Okay. Cool. I love that. That's awesome.
I think
So,
it's breaking free is what I'm calling it at the moment. I know. I thought that was really good.
really good. Okay, so I have one last question for you tonight. I know we've talked about a lot of different things, but for readers who are watching this who maybe haven't explored your work yet, where do you think they should start? Because you have quite a few titles. I think 31, is that right? About?
No, I don't think I have that many.
Okay, I thought that's what your Amazon page said, but I could be wrong.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Okay. I think that includes like anthologies and stuff, maybe.
Oh yeah, if you include the anthologies, it might. You're right. It might be.
A few.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it depends on triggers because
Okay.
I do have one series that is completed,
Okay.
and that is the Bluff Lake Pack, and but it is high on triggers because it deals with a sex trafficking trade
Okay.
ring that is taken down by two wolves, a dragon, and a vampire.
Okay. Totally fair.
And actually, that full set is, I believe, on Kindle Unlimited
Oh,
because
cool. Okay.
it's they're separate, but there's also the full book set that is all four in one.
Oh, nice.
It's a
Cool.
huge book,
Yeah.
and that one sells really good. So there's that one, and then I think Harper. I really like Harper
Okay.
because when you're bullied and told you're ugly and you're deformed, and then you grow up with that, and it carries on to his adult life, and
Yeah.
so I think that shows a lot because we can all kind of relate to that, and
Yeah.
that inked is good because I just love getting tattoos.
I love that's fair. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, on that happy note, um, I'm gonna go ahead and where can readers find you? Where is the best place for them to connect with you?
Actually, I'm pretty wide, so
Okay.
you can go I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook. Um, I do have TikTok, but I'm trying to get away from that
Okay,
because
that's
I'm
fair.
finding I procrastinate way too much time just scrolling through mindless videos.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It's
I
easy.
do have a website, but I'm not really sure where it is. I have to work on it. But and then my books are I'm Apple, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Amazon,
Cool.
everywhere.
I love that. So it'll be really easy for people to find you, which is
Mhm.
great. Well, Prometheus Susan, it was amazing to talk with you tonight. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And I will see you in February again at Flirty in Kansas.
I am going to come by as a reader. I am local, so I'll come
Uh,
over and say hi.
I'll still see you though.
You
So
will. You'll still
that's
see
all
me.
that matters.
Yeah,
Yes.
sounds good. Okay. You.
Bye.